Okay, let's start. Uh, we are here with Mr. Tony Moore, finally. We have a lot of questions, not a lot of questions, but we have some questions that me and Vinicius prepared to speak with you. And the first question, Mr. Tony, like I would like you to define yourself as a musician because we know you as a keyboard for Iron Maiden
Yes.
and Cutting Crew, and now you are releasing Awake, a guitar album. Then, how you define as a musician?
That's a difficult question, but I'm really a songwriter at heart. That's my biggest passion is writing music. And I've always played guitar, but the lead guitar that I play now, nobody ever saw it before the Awake album shows. I always did it in the studio or just, when I was practicing. So people always knew me as the keyboard player. But for Awake the album and Awake the tour, lots of people, including really old friends of mine, are watching me play lead guitar and are nicely surprised because they never saw me do it before.
Uh, and then talking about this Awake album, I'm not a musician, okay? I'm just a old guy that listen a lot of music. Is different from Vinicius. And my question is, when I see like a guitar player release, okay, sometimes I thinking if you release an album for the musicians, but in your album, I have to travel to a city closer here and travel driving and listen your album. And it's a perfect album to speed up to see the atmosphere outside the car. I don't know you
Yeah.
understand me. That is a perfect album to travel like here. What is concept for Awake? You think it's a record for musicians, or what do we want
Well,
to spread with this
you know,
album?
for, from from my perspective, I wrote the album for everyone, but especially for me. And the album is a concept album, so it feels like there's a narrative that it has a beginning and a middle and an end, and there's a little journey. So I'm very pleased that you say it's a great album to listen to when you're driving. I have a few good friends that say the same thing. I have one friend who took his grandchildren in the car, and when Crazy in the Shed came on, they wouldn't stop singing it. They've been singing it ever since now. But I think the music appeals to lots of people because I've watched, certainly on the shows that I've done with Steve, to mainly a metal audience, right? It's these people have come to see Steve and British Lion, a lot of Iron Maiden fans, a lot of British Lion fans, but they've come for a particular kind of thing. And my show is so different from that. But because of that, I noticed that people became very intrigued by the show. It's I in a joking way, I call it musical LSD because it's a trip. And once you start at the beginning, you should take the whole trip with me because it's an adventure. But there are very some emotional moments in the show. The music was written about three things, sort of. Partly, I wrote it in 2021, so it's partly what happened in 2020 and 2021 and the madness in the world. It's partly about my life journey, as you and your listeners will probably know. In 1977, I joined Iron Maiden as a keyboard player, and although I didn't stay the longest time, we did do one very important gig, and Steve and I became very good friends. When I first moved to London, I stayed with him and his grandmother in the east of London. They looked after me, and he kind of basically introduced me into London. And we lost touch for many years, but we reconnected about 6 or 7 years ago. And I have to tell you, as many other people will say, Steve is a very real, very genuine, very generous, and a very loyal friend. And most of his friends he's had since he was at school. He's very down to earth. And when I was making Awake, I was sending him the tracks. Each time I finished a new one, I'd record it and send it to him. And his response was always very super positive. He might say, make the guitar solo longer or put more orchestra in. But he was really enjoying the music very much. to such a point that he's really the executive producer of the album, because he heard everything before anybody else and gave me the feedback that was really useful to help me continue. So the album is a little bit about my journey of life, because at a very young age, I joined a band that have gone on to be one of the biggest bands in the world, as we know. And and although I think I left because we did a show and keyboards didn't feel like it was the thing that was really fitting in, gelling in, I'm very proud of my time with Maiden, and knowing Steve and all the guys. It was an incredible adventure to bring me to London, and obviously Iron Maiden have proved to everybody that they are a very important band that has an amazing live show, but they write music that means something to people. This is, I've discovered this all around the world, that Iron Maiden fans are, it's almost like a football team, you know, that people love Iron Maiden no matter what. And over the years, they will bring friends and family and younger brothers and sons to the gigs, and it becomes a very family kind of event, a very safe, but a fantastic event. So all of those were in the back of my head when I was creating the music, that I wanted to make an album that meant something to people, that inspired people, but also took a journey. So it's a little bit about my life journey as a musician. It's a little bit about 2020 and 21, and it's a little bit about my mum. Mi madre, at the beginning of the lockdown, she got dementia and was bedridden. So I moved in to become her carer and look after her. And I set all my equipment up in the shed in her back garden. So as you know, in the album, the shed is a very important part of this whole story, because I spent so much time in there, made so much music in there. So I'd like people to listen to the whole album from the beginning to the end, because it does take you on a journey, but you can also take songs out of it and enjoy it. With Steve, I perform about 55 minutes of the show, and the show and the album is normally about an hour and 45. So I've taken away about 50 minutes to be able to do the opening set. And Steve has been very generous even with that. An opening band usually would only get about 40 minutes, but he's been very generous to give me 50 minutes because he loves the show. He comes out and tries to watch the show almost every night where he can, when we've been doing the tour.
Yeah.
You know, I might find him on the side of the stage on a little chair hiding in the corner, or I might look up and he's in the back of a gallery that hasn't been opened yet to the public, or, you know, he's been very, very honest and enthusiastic about his support.
Oh, great. Now with you, next question, Vinicius will do.
Yeah. Tony, we know in 2023, Steve went to Cart and Horse and meet you and other former Iron Maiden members, such as Dave Sullivan, Terry Rapron, Rancy, and Doug Sampson, right?
Yes.
Yeah. How was that? Was it the first time you met Steve since you left the band?
No, Steve had been to see my full show before that at a different venue. But
along the years.
Yes. And here again is the really important thing about Steve as a friend and as a supporter. He knows that the Cart and Horses, for many people, is a meeting point for people who love Maiden.
Yeah.
And it was a very important venue in the early days. And he called me up and he said, listen, I'm getting some of the old guys back together just to go down and throw the spotlight on the Cart and Horses, to give them some press and PR and some photos to help them carry on doing what they're doing, because it's very important. So we all met up there. We did lots of pictures. And I think for many people in the industry, Steve being there validated, you know, the history of the Cart and Horses. And of course, we've played there 3 times now. We played 2 times on the British tour in January, once at the beginning and once at the end. And then we played there once again in February, March, April. I think it was maybe I can't remember now, maybe May or June, when we also did another show to help support a venue that were going out of business, and we did a fundraiser to help raise some money so they could buy the building. But the Cart and Horses is a little historical moment in time. And when you go there, there's lots of pictures and memorabilia there. And it's a very real place. People just love to go and have a drink there and hang out. So Steve is a great guy, and he wanted to make sure that the venue was seen to have support from him.
Yeah, for us, the fans from Iron Maiden, was very special. See you and the guys together again and in Carton Housers.
Yes, yeah, it was a very emotional night. You know, some of these were members before me, some were members after me. As you know, there's been a lot of different people who've been part of the Iron Maiden story, but it was a very emotional night, all coming together, and we had a lot of fun. And as I said, we went back and played there. We even had to bring in extra stage because there wasn't quite enough stage to set everything up properly. So we brought some extra staging and made it a really special evening.
Yeah, and do you still keep in touch with all the Iron Maiden bandmates, the other guys along the years? And now
a little bit. Terry Wopram was the guitarist when I was in the band. We stayed pretty good friends over the years.
Nice.
Thundersticks I haven't seen so much of. I saw him once about six or 7 years ago at a gig. But you know, we try, because of course we all come from a different period, right? So
yes,
you know. But Dave Sullivan also has been to my show a few times and really enjoys it, and he's been very supportive. You know, it's a nice family because we were all part of the dream, and Steve continues the dream and makes it bigger than ever. I mean, I think these shows when we come to South America are going to be absolutely astonishing. People are going to blow their minds.
Yeah, everyone is important to building what Iron Maiden means today. Yeah, I guess for the fans, I think. And well, Rapran usually to play in Carton House now. Yes.
Again?
Sometimes I see Terry Rapran playing in Carton House.
Yes, because he had his own band. Then I think he guested with Gypsy's Kiss on some shows. And yeah, so he's really good friends with. There's a little gang of people that go there a lot that are really good friends, and we all support each other.
Last year we had the chance to see Dennis Stratton here in Brazil.
Oh yes,
last December. Yeah, and now we have the chance to see you.
Thank you. Well, I'm very excited. My show is very, very immersive, and it's a little bit different. So I just say to anyone who's coming to see the show, come with an open mind, and we will go on the journey together. We'll have fun.
Yeah,
but for sure.
Let's talk about the show.
We talked about the show, but I have a question about your time as a keyboard from Iron Maiden.
Okay.
I saw some interviews you answered from the past that of course the first albums I cannot imagine it keyboards on that sound. Okay, but when you look a lot of years later, like a Seventh Son of Seventh Son, we had a lot of keyboard.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and my question was, what do you think could be if you was the keyboard on Seventh Son or the Seventh Son? Some track you do something different or not?
That's a very nice thing to think about. I think Steve actually played most of those keyboards, didn't he? I think Steve knew what he wanted, which was mainly kind of string pads or some organy things or stuff that mixed in with the sound. These were instruments that I didn't have when I joined the band. I had an electric piano. So if you think of Doctor Doctor, right, which obviously opens every Maiden show, and how it begins, there's that electric piano. That was more the kind of keyboard player I was. And it didn't really quite work in Maiden. As you quite rightly say, those first two albums, it's hard to hear. Maybe some Deep Purple kind of organ might have worked on them in places.
Yeah.
But I think it needed to be twin lead guitar. That's the magic formula, right? That's the Maiden sound. And then as the music became evolved and the musicians and Steve became more mature, you know, there was a place to put keyboards. As it happens now, there is someone who tours with Iron Maiden who plays those keyboard parts. You don't see him. His name's Brent. He's a great good friend, and he's a great musician. But he's out of sight. But when you listen to the show live, you'll hear some of those songs. You hear the keyboards behind them with strings or organ sounds.
Yeah.
Now,
do you? Oh, sorry.
No. Now, go ahead, Vinicius. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Tony, do you remember if Iron Maiden usually does to play Doctor Doctor live or just a playback on the?
It's always playback. Now, in the past,
never played it before live.
Well, they may have played it live. I don't know that they have done that, but every show normally has just the recording, and then at the very end of the recording, there's like a da 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 ba 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 ba, where the volume goes right up and the audience knows what's coming next. Right? It's very exciting. I've seen a lot of this tour with Maiden across Japan and Australia and America, and it's a fantastic show. I have to tell you. I mean, there's a lot of the new album, but it feels like things like Writing on the Wall have become classic Maiden songs now, because everybody knows the words, right? And I think it's actually a really great album.
The same from Hell on Earth, in my opinion.
Say again?
Hell on Earth, the same from Hell on Earth, in my opinion. It's an epic song from Steve lyrics.
Starting from, some little acoustic bass stuff and then going into this monster track. No, it's a great album. And their show goes so quickly, right? I mean, it's a long show, but the songs are just so good. On this tour, my favorite song has been Alexander the Great.
Oh, everyone. For everyone, because
it's such a powerful song, and what I love is in the instrumental in the middle. Yeah, this is for the musicians now. Is in 7/8, right? Which is kind of like Genesis. It's a different time signature, and I really love all the fun things that Steve and the guys play within that song. But it's a great track. Okay.
About the set list.
Yes.
Okay. About the set list. Of course, we'll play Awake, but I have a special request. Please, like Awake was a journey. Okay. I not wanna broke this journey in your concert, but please play Die in Your Arms Tonight, because for me this is the best rock song, not the rock song that ever made it. Please, if possible, play this song. And you would like to remind me this Cotton Creole area, how was to play in a pop song like where
Well, sadly, I won't be able to play it at the show, because I have a very specific amount of time to do my set, and my show is timed to fit that. But if I come back, which I'd love to do, when my profile is a little higher, then I'd be very happy to do that for you. Although I could do this. Hang on. Don't go anywhere.
Okay.
This is completely out of tune. Keep on looking for something I can't get.
Yeah.
It's like all around me. I don't see an easy way to get out of this. The diary, it sits on the bedside table. The curtains are closed. The cat's in a cradle. Who would have thought that a boy like me could come to this?
I say.
I just died in your arms tonight.
Oh, great.
Been something you said. I just died in your arms tonight. Whoa, I just died in your arms tonight. It must have been some kind of kiss. I should have walked away.
I should have walked away. Yeah. Yeah, it's a pleasure hearing this from you. Okay, and now I have a question about the Kashmir Club because you are also was a producer. Um, how was as a musician have a pub and give opportunity to the new musician? What it is amazing.
Well, this was an accident. So basically, in 1997, I wasn't doing any live shows. I'd been working with an amazing singer called Marie Claire Dualdo from Argentina, and I was just really frustrated that I had nowhere to play my songs. Right, so I started a night in a pub. I called it the Kashmir Club. I got lots of my friends to lend me PA equipment and give me mixing desks and people in the industry that I knew, and I booked my friends who were great musicians, and they couldn't they didn't have a gig to play anywhere. Excuse me. The first night was such a success. We were absolutely packed. So we did it again the next week and the next week. And after a while, people just started coming. And then I had some famous people turn up. So Sheryl Crow turned up one night to see another act. And she said to me she'd love to play there. So we arranged a secret gig for her to happen that weekend. Dave Stewart from the Eurythmics did a special set with us. Different members of Fleetwood Mac would drop in when they were in town that lived nearby. It was a magical place, and we also launched the careers of many artists. I don't know if you know Damien Rice, that fantastic singer, Katie Tunstall, and that ran for 6 years. And then after it finished, when the building, the owner of the building took it back, he thought he could do a better job, which he didn't, but that's a mess. So we got kicked out. And then I started doing the same thing at a venue called the Bedford in Balham, which the guy that owned it had been to my club and said, could I help him with the music? So I've been doing the same thing for 21 years there now. And it was an accident because I have an ear for things that I love that actually people love. So at the Bedford, we did early shows with James Bay, James Morrison. Ed Sheeran's first album is called Ed Sheeran Live at the Bedford. You can go online now and listen to it and download it. He did that before he was famous. But it's an amazing thing. And I'm sure you feel something similar when you're working with very talented people and you're able to give a platform to people with talent.
Yeah.
It's a really empowering thing to feel. So even though I've always been a musician, I've always written, I've always produced, I've always done gigs, that part of my life became so successful that it took over a little bit. So I'm at a point now where the Bedford is still running strong. We're booked till next May, but I now have a little bit of flexibility in my life that I can do Awake, which is my dream. This is my passion. Awake and the music in this show is what I've spent my whole life waiting to do. So I am so thrilled right now. And I'm so grateful to Steve for understanding and seeing that, and by inviting me to go to Australia with him and to Japan with him and to now South America. This will be the first time that I play in Brazil. And I'm so excited. I think we're playing at a place called Fabric in Sao Paulo, aren't we, I believe?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yes. I'm living closer to São Paulo. Yeah. I hope you'll be there. Vinicius will be there. These words that you just spoken as your passion about music, it's a wonderful thing to hear, Mr. Tony, because sometimes, of course, we know you about Iron Maiden. I am listening Awake in this time right now, and it's special when you see a person that you from a band that you grow up like it and looking for new songs and see how you describe the music, because for me as a person that have a website and listen just from you, it's a magical to see, and you understand why England creates so many icons of musicians. Is like you did in your pub and you did as all in your music. And Vinicius, are you with us, Vinicius?
Yeah.
I have. They mentioned to us that they have only 50 minutes. Do you want to do one more question, Vinicius?
Yeah. I wasn't here. Tony, you play that song on the show in São Paulo?
Unfortunately, not, because I only have a very limited time. So my show.
Yes.
Exactly
Because of this, he played to us. Because of this, he played to us. It's an honor. Yes. Okay. Mr. Tony, I really appreciate this interview. Sorry for our blurry questions.
Everything's fine.
It's an honor. Now I wanna just check print screen for you, like have these memories with you. Let's put the one.
Yeah.
One, two, print screen. Oops, it's wrong here from my side. It's wrong here from my side. Sorry. 1, 2, 3. Hey. Thank you, Mr. Tony. Now it's with you. Your last words to Brazil that are waiting a lot to see you live here in Brazil.
Well, first of all, muito obrigado. What a great interview. Both of you are very knowledgeable and very researched, and it's great to talk to people who love music and understand this world. I know that Brazil has a very special relationship with Iron Maiden and rock music in general, unlike any other country in the world. So I am very thrilled to be able to play for the very first time in Brazil and bring my show there. I can't tell you how exciting it is for me, because I've dreamed about being able to do a show in Brazil for a very, very long time. Obviously, Rock in Rio has put a stamp on the world for rock music. But behind all of that is this continued support and belief from the people of Brazil who love great music. And whether it's Queen or whether it's Iron Maiden or whether it's Deep Purple, whoever it is, or Pink Floyd, right? You as a country, you embrace and support in a way that very few other people do. So I am excited and thrilled to come. And to the people of Brazil, thank you for your continued support. And I hope to see as many of you as possible when I get to Sao Paulo.
Okay. Thank you so much, Vinicius.
Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Moore. It will be a pleasure to have you here in Brazil. I'm go to the concert, and I hope you enjoy the Brazilian fans. How you say we love Iron Maiden and everything around the Iron Maiden. So we love you.
Thank you so much.
You have to be sure this. Yeah.